Hello everyone and welcome to Lap of the World. I'm Richard.
I'm Liz, and these are our 1992 Acura NSXs.
One has covered over 312,000 miles.
The other one is just shy of 150,000, but we plan to add nearly 4,000 more miles driving from Knoxville, Tennessee to Phoenix, Arizona for NSXPO 2022.
So come along for the ride as we head into the Southwest and join more than 100 other owners in celebrating all things NSX. Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I'm Richard.
And I'm Liz, and this is Lap of the World. You join us for day one of our cross-country drive to NSXPO 2022 in Phoenix, Arizona. So we are currently still in Tennessee.
It's a long state, and we figured it would take some of the nearly 5 hours it's going to take us to cross it to talk about what's different this year on our road trip to NSXPO. Aside from the obvious, there is no Liz in this passenger seat.
And there's no Richard in this one. So we figured we'd use this time to cover a couple topics.
The three topics we wanted to cover today are how packing was different, how our car prep was a little bit different, and then of course how the actual driving is different on this road trip versus others that we've been on. Liz is going to get us started with the packing piece.
Liz, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
All right. So yeah, I mean, as you know, since we have two cars this year, you would think that means we have tons of room for packing, and so it made it so much easier. You know, but honestly, it was harder. I think we had too much room because, you know, we ended up having redundancy because we have two different cars, had to have two ice chests, two bags of food, so we had to split things up a bunch. So that made it a little harder, but I mean, packing definitely was easier since we were trying to find things to fill the space. But I think that's about it. Back to you, Richard, to talk about some car prep.
Thanks, Liz. Yeah, so I will address the car preparation in a few quick words here. I know many of you out there are probably thinking, well, yeah, that was probably a lot more work for you, wasn't it? Oh, no. Liz did all the prep on her own car herself. I was there for advice, and that's about it. I think I handed her a wrench a couple of times. But we did have to manage our garage space. We have kind of a big open working bay, which is what you see most of the time on the channel. We have another garage that's still climate controlled-ish, but not quite as capacious. So it's a little bit tighter quarters in there. You can do simple stuff like basic inspections. I can get wheels and tires on and off the car pretty easy. But it's not the space you want to be working in. The lighting's not as good. So we did have to kind of do a little bit of musical cars there and time it right. Fortunately, you know, this car is kind of just past a big maintenance cycle, so it doesn't need very much. I got tires and an alignment done, which were of course done away from the house, and then an oil change, and otherwise just a close inspection of everything. So there wasn't a whole lot extra to do and nothing I couldn't accomplish in a smaller working area. Whereas Liz, for her part, needed the space and lighting to accomplish the changing all of her coolant hoses, which were well overdue, and that was probably easily the biggest time consumption and biggest ticket round of maintenance or prep that we did before this road trip. The car made it home from St. Louis in the spring just fine, but you know, going somewhere like Arizona where the cooling system's going to get a workout, there's no reason to take any chances since we had the time to do it. But that was really the only difference in car prep, was just kind of an extra car and making sure everything was up to date. So now I'm going to kick it back over to Liz to talk about driving. So Liz, you're up on deck for talking about how it's different driving this year.
Got it. So yeah, I mean, having two drivers in two different cars definitely was an added challenge. I mean, obviously one we were up to take, but what it means is there's no more switching drivers every few hours. So it definitely meant that we have to take a little shorter days, you know, and take a few more breaks just to make sure that neither one of us are getting too tired. But the good news is we both really enjoy long road trips, so that's not a big deal. I mean, it does mean that, you know, know, if you watched our videos back in 2021, I think it was, when I was sneaking into a couple tourist attractions while Richard was sleeping, yeah, none of that this year. I think he would notice if I did that. So other than that, I mean, it's okay. And obviously, we have to use walkie-talkies instead of just talking to each other in the passenger seat. So it's all you to wrap it up.
Thanks, Liz. So I hope that does cover some of the questions that y'all may have had with respect to how this year's trip to an NSXPO is going to be different for us versus our previous 6 trips to NSXPO, at least with respect to prepping 2 cars, packing 2 cars, and then driving 2 separate cars out to the event. But with that said, we are going to get back, kind of get the hammer back down here and get the rest of the way out of Tennessee. And we will probably pick you back up from eastern Arkansas later. Popping back in here with a critical update as we're stopped for gas. We've had our first mechanical of the trip. I noticed sometime on the road I was getting the infamous brake lamp warning light on my dashboard, and there's really one of 3 reasons that happens on an NSX. Your cluster is about to light itself on fire, being the worst case, then your trunk harness is corroded, or you actually have a brake light bulb out. Fortunately, in our case, it was the latter. And I had just this morning found a pair of spare brake lights or light bulbs in a bag that we decided to take last second to have a little bit of extra room. So packing win for us accidentally, and we are back on the road with all brake lights intact now. Well, after that minor mechanical, we have reached our destination for the evening, somewhere in eastern Arkansas.
Yeah, I mean, the drive was mostly uneventful, except for a few crazy people near Memphis and, you know, people not using their mirrors, but low car problems, right?
Yeah, low car problems.
Yeah.
So I guess we're, what are we doing now?
So I think we're going to head and try to find something to eat. Well, unpack the cars, try to find something to eat, and, you know, I don't know, there's not much around here, though.
Yeah, we'll look and see around. As a backup plan, we did bring some of our backpacker meals. If you remember the 2021 edition of this vlog.
Some of those weren't that bad.
Some weren't that bad. So, I don't know. We're going to go do some Googling. Hopefully we can find some place to get actual food. Otherwise, we may be boiling some water in the microwave or something. But that's where we're going to leave it for today. Thank you for joining us.
We will add a clip.
We will add it. Yeah, if we do, we'll put that in. But otherwise, thanks for joining us on day 1 of our adventures out to NSXPO 2022. We hope you'll join us for the next one, as I just got a bug.
Which will be day 2.
Bug like that's straight up my nose right there.
Yeah.
Day 2 will be next.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's about it. We're gonna get going, and thanks again for joining us. I'm Liz.
I'm Richard. This is Laugh of the World. We'll see you in the next video, if not out in Arizona.